Hey guys, and welcome back to the HobbyDo007 channel. There's an old saying that's as boring as watching paint dry. Well, that's something in our hobby, as well as any crafter, real car painter, house painter, whatever. You got to wait for the paint to dry before you can move on. Well, to that end, I've received no less than 3 emails and comments in the last 8 or 10 days asking, about dehydrators. And I don't recall in any of my previous videos sharing with you, maybe I did, I just don't remember it, why I use one, as well as what kind of dehydrator I use, right temperatures, all that stuff. And guys, depending on what paint you use, enamels, lacquers, acrylics, they dry at different rates. And of course, how you prep those paints too. But let's stay on the dehydrator. Let's talk about it. Bring your model to life with MCV products. Visit them on the World Wide Web at mcvproducts.com. Hey guys, little disclaimer up front. I'm not saying in sharing this that this is the way you need to do yours, not by any means. This is just the way I do it. And to that end, I would also like to hear from you guys that use dehydrators, the brand, the temperature, that kind of stuff. I'm going to be sharing that with you about what I use today. But there's all kinds of methods that maybe I don't even know about that help cure paint faster. I know Matthew at Multicar Videos uses an incubator. Hey, if it works, man. I have no problem with that. But I would like to hear from you what kind and temperature and that kind of stuff. As I said, I'm going to share with you what I like to use. And of course, a dehydrator is designed to remove moisture, so you can make beef jerky or, all kinds of stuff that you can use. And I've used them for that purpose. One of the strangest things I ever did was somebody said, try watermelon. Try dehydrating, take the moisture out of watermelon. It's actually a little chewy, but well, man, the flavor is packed, but it's different. But anyway, as far as using it for the hobby, Amanda has used it to cure craft paints. Of course, I use it for a lot of years. I have 2 that are the exact same brand, same model, everything, that I've had for around 30 years, and I'm going to share those with you. And I picked up one at Salvation Army for like $5. And it is a really good one too. There are different models and types. Some have just a really low dry heat. Some have fans. I prefer the ones with the fans, and I'll share that with you here in a minute too. But again, depending on the enamel, the type of paint, lacquers, acrylics, whatever, depending on how you prep the paint too, that can help cure it. If you add a hardener, I've found that even the leveling thinner actually helps cure it a little faster too. So there's a lot of things to consider there, but I don't want to get into paint prep and all that stuff right now. Just the use of the dehydrator and what I like about mine. So let me get the first one up on the workbench, and I'll share a little bit of information about it. First up, this is the Magic Chef. This is the one that came from Salvation Army. I'm sure you can find these at Goodwill, places like that, but as you can see there, it was $5. And this one is pretty good. There's a couple drawbacks, and I'm going to share those with you. This one does have a fan built into the bottom, so it circulates the hot air. And I like that better because there are some out there that just have a very dry heat, and that's okay, but it just takes longer. I have found personally that this with the circulating heat works a lot better. I think Ronco made one that was good. It just took a little extra time because it didn't have a fan in it. But this one is pretty good. But here's a couple of drawbacks. And by the way, how I know what the temperatures are in these things is I use both a meat probe and a candy thermometer. These candy thermometers go up to about 400 degrees, and I let it run for a little bit. I put this in there and let it stay 20 minutes or so, and the highest I've ever seen this one get to is 140 degrees. And that will not melt. It won't melt plastic, but I'm hesitant on the 140, especially with resins or 3D prints. I'm really cautious with those, so I don't use this for that. This one, the only way you can adjust the temperature, and I do know that some of the brand new models do have a temperature control on them, but this right here, you see the holes in there. You can seal that off, or here, let me show you. You can see there, and then you can turn that and seal that off and get more temperature. And the hottest with it closed is when it's 140. Now, you'll see here with the cover on this one, you don't have a lot of room. You could not get a body in that, of course. But what someone that uses one of these particular Magic Chefs did was they took the first 3 trays and they cut all of this around out, so you had just the outer lip. And that way it goes all the way. You have a depth to get a body in there. And it's not a bad dehydrator at all. Like I said, small parts I put in there. And let me take this up. Sorry about that. You see there's your fan, how the air circulates around. But this is a pretty good dehydrator. Well, let me get it back together here, guys. I'm all over the place. Sorry about that. But again, this is not a bad dehydrator. You just got to do some modifications to it and leave those vents open. I would recommend if you're going to put a body in it. But not bad, and if you shop around, you can find them. My favorite is the next one up. Let me grab that, get it on the workbench, and I'll be right back. As I was saying, I have 2 of this particular model. This is a Waring. You can find these on, I've seen them on eBay. Still, this exact same model. My mom actually got one first, gave me hers, and then I had gotten one, but it is a Waring, and one of them runs about 128, 129 degrees, and this one runs a pretty constant 133, and this is the one I use more than the other one, and that's only 7 degrees cooler than the Magic Chef we just looked at 140, but I've never had it melt any plastic. Like I said, I keep an eye on when I put resin parts, like a 3D resin engine or something in it. When I put parts in there, I've never put a resin body or a 3D printed body in one. I'm a little scared of that yet, and I just need to experiment with one, because when I first got this one, the first thing I did was put an old body in it, with just shot some paint on it, put an old body in it, and left it overnight, and somewhat kind of expected it to be melted the next morning, but it wasn't. But the paint certainly cured. Now, as far as paint times go, good old-fashioned testers, which I've used way back for many years, I could put in this thing and have it dried. And, you know, we all know where there's, I'm sorry, guys, I'm rambling, I know. People say they'll leave it a week or two, and depending on the humidity where you live, you may have to. But enamels I've cured in as little as 8 hours in one of these things. Leave it overnight, boom, it's done. Can't smell, it's gassed out, it's done. I like this Waring because instead of having each tray that stacks, you have them individually, and there's enough to fill this thing up, but I only use the bottom one. And let me get this dome off of it. The dome allows you, and by the size, you can also see that you could get a couple of bodies in there. You see the shocks for the 40 and some of the other stuff. Some of that I just stuck back in there to let you get a look at, but you can see the body. My testers, or excuse me, Tamiya paint stand, the base, the height is fine, but the base is a little too wide to fit in here. So what I usually do is, as you can see, that's nothing more than a paint cap off of a just a spray can of like Duplicolor or Plastico, something like that, and the bodies just fit beautifully right down on there, and that way they don't touch the bottom either, but that works really well. Enamels, about 8 to 10 hours. Most of the time, about 8 hours will do it. Lacquers, an hour to 3 hours, they're done. Acrylics, sometimes half an hour. It really depends. And again, if you have hardener in it, or if you have something like that, you're going to get it done a lot faster. But this Waring is my favorite. and like I said, I've had these for about 30 years, and they get a workout. They have been used a lot. And head over to eBay if you're interested in one of these, or Amazon. I can't remember where I saw the last one, but it's this exact model. And again, the reason I like this one is there's so much room in it. But again, guys, post what you use, what brand, temperature, and like I said, some of the newer ones you've got a temperature control somewhere on them. But if you don't, hey, it's no big deal. Just grab you a candy thermometer or a meat thermometer, meat probe, stick down in there, and you can get an accurate reading that way too. But at 133 degrees, I've never melted anything or distorted anything, so it works pretty good. I hope for you guys that sent the emails and the had the comment in the comment section when we were talking about, I think it was the 40. I hope this helps and answers some questions, things like that. And again, don't know if I ever covered this before, but it definitely works. That dry heat removes that moisture, helps cure it faster. You still got to wait some, but hey, it's faster than waiting a week or so. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. Any other questions or comments, just let me know. Hope y'all have an awesome week. In fact, Amanda's got some her engine parts in the other dehydrator. They're done. She just needs to get out here and get that thing assembled. Okay, guys, hope y'all have, again, a great week. God bless. We'll see you in the next video. Later, guys.